So welcome to Gut Check with Alo Health. I'm Jen Borley, one of the owners and practitioners here at Alo Appleton. And like I said before, if you guys have questions, comments, little things you want to, ask about, even off topic if you want, just, we'll kind of try to stay on topic for the most part. We're going to talk about seasonal allergies today because it's that time of the year. Even though we saw snow flurries and whatnot yesterday, things going back and forth can really play a number on our on allergies and how we experience that. So, alrighty, let's get presentation up here, and I'll share my screen with you guys. Alrighty.
The guys are gonna take that thing down. So we can get the vacuum cleaner out.
So somebody's going to clean their bathroom. If you could just mute yourself, that would be fantastic. So, all right. So
Take it off here and leave it set up here.
Here. Okay, fabulous. Thank you.
So we are talking what the hay, seasonal allergies, hay fever, little play on words there. We're going to talk about causes, symptoms, and what you can do about them. And we'll have some time for some question and answer at the end as well. All right. Yeah. So first we're going to define what's an allergy, a reaction by your immune system to something that does not bother most other people. And that's from medlineplus.gov. It's kind of funny because you know what? We've seen more and more allergies. It seems like everybody reacts to pollen or mold spores. Seems like more and more people do, but just because something is common, it doesn't mean it's normal, right? So what are common symptoms when we think about seasonal allergies? Sneezing, itching, watery eyes, runny nose, headache, sinus pressure, cough, throat irritation. It's all the things you don't want to be like showing right now, right? Because everybody thinks it's the Rona and you're like, no, it's not. I just have seasonal allergies. So let's see here. So if of course I want to say if a fever occurs, it's not just allergies. You definitely want to check in with your healthcare provider. You want to monitor if you're having a sore throat due to like post nasal drip, because that's a real thing. A sore throat in and of itself, like just in the morning, is kind of common with seasonal allergies, right? Because it creates that lovely little medium for gunk to grow. So consult your healthcare provider if you do start to run a fever, if you start to have a sore throat that is like not just like that morning thing. That could be a sign of an infection. And of course, we don't want to be passing that around to your friends and family because they won't like you very much if you do that, right? So what are triggers? Pollen, pretty common one. It's going to be up and down for a while here. There's usually a pollen count, that's broadcast at a certain time of the year. Mold counts are up and down as well. Now, mold counts can be from your environment outside, but it also can be from somewhere in your home. Dust mites. We don't want to think of them, but they're everywhere. We live with them. And dander, our pets, of course. Our pets carry things in on their dander, but they also carry things in from the outside, like, pollen and mold, things like that. So those are all triggers of allergy symptoms, and they're common vectors, the things they carried in on. So why do we have the responses? Why do we have itchy, runny nose, all that fun stuff, right? It's our body's defense. Our body's defense wants to try to keep foreign invaders out. So they get acted, they get initiated when anything enters your system through your eyes, nose, your mouth, your skin. Your immune system reacts with defenses to prevent the invasion or the entrance into your actual circulation. So tears, they wash things out. Increased secretions like your nose. It's like, oh my gosh, you ever have it where you think, I feel like my nose is going to totally drip, but you look in the mirror and there's like nothing happening there. That could be a sign of allergies. It's your body doing the right thing. It doesn't mean you're sick. It's actually your body doing the right thing, meaning it's in healthy function to keep an invader out, right? So whether that invader is an allergy sort of instigator, if you will, or if it is maybe like that bacteria or that virus, that's actually a good sign that your body is doing the right thing. If that doesn't happen fast enough, more troops are called in. So think of your immune system as, I mean, it's going to protect your body. And sometimes it has to call in some more troops or some backup, if you will. They try to wash out other things. So more nasal drainage, more eye watering, sometimes more of that yuck stuff, like in your throat that no one wants to hear you do. So if it washes it out, there's no further reaction. It gets rid of it. If it's not washed out due to too much, like too much exposure, like you walk into one of those flowers that just goes poof, or tons of pollen sources, or they're cutting something next door in the farm field, or if you don't have the ability to flush it out due to really dry nose or other stressors that are going on in your life, it can be a little more exaggerated because your body's immune system is going to pull some more resources. You may have an exaggerated response. You may have a more intense response, increased watering eyes, increased inflammation, and you may have swelling. That's where you get like the sinus pressure, the headache, more systems are responding. You can have a histamine response, and you hear about antihistamines all the time when it comes to allergies. There could be pressure, and again, that histamine response is what happens, calling in some more troops. You also could have more of a response because you have the inability to clear the histamine, or you have a histamine intolerance. That is a topic for another day, but that is a big deal as well. So you may notice that, okay, I have that initial response, I have that histamine response, I have some swelling, things are going on, but it's like it never goes away, even after the initial onslaught of whatever's blooming is done blooming. It doesn't go away. That could be a bigger issue. So we know the why, we know the what are we going to do about it, right? So as with anything, if there's something stressing you out, the best thing is to get away from it, right? Remove the source of stress. So how do we do that, right? Unless you're going to move every change of season to somewhere that doesn't have any allergies or live in a bubble, really, that's really hard to do. But there are some things you can do to kind of mitigate things. So during high peak pollen times, you can stay inside. Again, not everybody wants to do that, or it's not feasible. You have a job that you have to be outside in or something like that. Close your windows, use an air purifier, change your clothing. Now, I mean, most of us do that every day, but if you're outside working in an environment that has a lot of allergy inducers for you, when you get inside, change your clothing, take a shower, wash it off of you, get rid of it, wash your hair. Some people go extreme and they cut their hair off. I wouldn't do that. It gets a little chilly, but it's an option for people who are really, really bad. Bathe your pets because they are going to be rolling in the grass and many other things. They're going to be carrying those allergen things in on their bodies and their little feet and everywhere else. Not wearing your shoes in the house is another good reason not to do that. Again, wash clothing, wash bedding, especially pillowcases. Dry your clothes indoors instead of out on the line. I know, I love that fresh, springy smell of laundry dried on the line. And then you can use saline nasal rinse to help support your natural function of washing things out. So you can do those simple steps to kind of help, again, mitigate the exposure and then decrease the exposure time. Does anybody have any questions so far? All right, not seeing anybody trying to get on here, so perfect. So another thing we can do to kind of help balance out, remember, when we're under more stress, we, create more waste in our body. We require more nutrients. So if we can eliminate toxins in our environment, things that you may not actually always think about that add stress to our bodies, you can decrease your immune response, or at least help your body recover faster. So things like air fresheners, I'm sorry, like the plug-in things, the air fresheners, the sprays that, that kill the germs or whatever, those are not meant to be breathed in. You're not supposed to get those like inside your body. So if you can eliminate the use of those, I encourage you to do that. Also powder. You may have heard like there were like lawsuits and things about certain powder causing certain cancers and things like that. And that is a real thing. We are not supposed to inhale talc. We are not supposed to get those things into our lungs because they can cause really big bad problems, right? Including asthma symptoms and as big and bad of things as causing cancer. So get rid of them. Just don't even use powders. I don't recommend powder, like baby powder, stuff like that, just because it really is not good for you. Different sprays, like I was talking about. I really think that in the next couple of years, due to all the happenings over the past year, there's going to be that commercial, you know what I'm talking about, the one, if you were exposed to such and such thing in the pandemic of 2019, 2020, there's going to be a whole lot of stuff that you're, you might be eligible for a cash payout. So anyway, start getting rid of those kinds of things. And it might even be things that are kind of near and dear to your heart, like your favorite cologne or your favorite perfume or something like that. Check the ingredients. There are clean beauty options that you can use, and it'll decrease the stress on your body. Bleach. I know, so bleach can be really, really hard on the lungs. It can be hard on the skin. You shouldn't have regular exposure to bleach in your body because it will add stress. And again, anything that adds more stress to your body is going to make your immune response to those things like more intense. And eventually it might just kind of say, I'm done helping you out here. I'm just going to take a little vacation. So if you can eliminate those things, especially things that you breathe in that could potentially add more stress, you're going to improve your ability to counteract those seasonal allergies. All righty. So how do we counterattack? What do we do? What can we do to counteract our seasonal allergies, right? So you may have heard local honey. Local honey can help because local bees make their honey from local pollen, local plants, things like that. So generally speaking, they'll have a little microdose of those things that you're reacting to. And if you're familiar with like immunotherapy, like allergy shots, it's the same premise, only this is, taking it in through your mouth, right? So if you can get local honey, some people will combine local honey with like apple cider vinegar. Now there are some stipulations on that. If apple cider vinegar makes you like burn, then we need to talk because there's some other things going on. So you got to make sure your mucosal lining is okay with apple cider vinegar. Also, I don't recommend that you smell it a whole lot before you take a little spoonful of it because it doesn't smell good. So I digress. Usually if you're going to do the apple cider vinegar, you do it along with the local honey. Take the apple cider vinegar first, then have a nice little spoonful of local honey. And some people find some really nice resolution, and not really resolution, it's not a cure, but it helps ease the symptoms of allergies. You have to do it a couple times a day at the beginning, and then you can kind of wean down. Homeopathy. So along with that microdosing concept of like the local honey having that pollen, homeopathy does very similar things. It has little micro doses of the things that could be causing the issues for you. So, clover pollen or, different things like that. I do have an example of something that we carry here at Alo. It's called Allercord A, and it has just so different things in it that can be the cause of your seasonal allergies, but in little tiny micro doses. So again, same concept as immunotherapy, where you're kind of giving yourself a little microdose of something so that your body can kind of get used to it. You'll hear people say, "Oh, I became immune to that." Well, kind of, but not. It's a different mechanism, but yep, it does help lessen your reaction to it. Antihistamines. Okay, so marketing is brilliant on antihistamines, and they are fantastic if you're in a crisis and you need, like your eyes are kind of like, you look like Rocky Balboa after, fighting how many ever rounds, or you're having issues breathing, definitely get some help with that. That's where medicine is meant to be, but use it as a last resort and short term only. There's some reasons for that. So when we take antihistamines, it will always, always, always affect digestion. It will always have an effect on it. So it's going to decrease your hydrochloric acid production, which then is going to make it so that you can't properly digest and absorb proteins from your food. And it's a vicious cycle, because eventually you may have to take more of that antihistamine to do the same job, because your body's always going to be fighting to override that. It's like, wait a minute, I need to make more acid because I need to digest my food. I need to absorb that protein from my food. So you don't want to continually be telling your body not to produce that hydrochloric acid that you need for digestion. Now, at the same time, you want to breathe, because that's kind of important. And you want to, not look like Rocky Balboa, but you have to do supportive things. So again, antihistamines, short-term only, get over the initial issue. Make sure you're clearing the histamine. If your pathways, your detox pathways are not open, your lymphatic system, your GI system, if things are held up or not working ideally or optimally, you may take a little bit longer to clear histamine. And you want to be able to do that. So that's what we kind of specialize in here, at supporting normal function. If you do suffer with seasonal allergies, of course, I'd love to, talk to you, give you some ideas, and kind of see what else might be going on that could be making things a little worse. So overall support for your body. Let's see. So we have the counterattack strategy. Oh, jumped ahead of myself a little bit. So overall body support, decrease your sugar intake. That doesn't mean you have to give up all carbohydrates or anything like that, but processed sugars, too much sugar, excess sugars on your system are going to increase stress, right? And there are times where you're like, gosh, I'm not eating a lot of sugar. I'm not like really doing much, but you still have symptoms of like sugar intolerance, or you're not able to, feel energy. So you're craving more sugar. You may not be digesting it and absorbing it right. So again, that's an area that we, specialize in, is making sure your body can use what you're putting in it appropriately. And sometimes you need a little bit of help in the digestion and the absorption and the elimination part. And sometimes you need to decrease the amount of sugars that you're taking in. That doesn't mean you can never have a sweet again. It doesn't mean you can never have your favorite beverage again, or your, yummy high sugar coffee thing, but you have to be a little more strategic about it. So we can talk about strategies to do that, if that's something you struggle with. You'll hear all the time, eliminating dairy, because, what can dairy do? Well, it can make those secretions in your throat a little thicker, because as a rule, lactose is hard to digest. It's a sugar, but it's hard to digest for us humans. Milk and dairy products meant for baby cows, and we are the only mammals who take in another animal's milk after we're weaned. So we don't really have the appropriate amount of like lactase enzyme to digest lactose. So it becomes a stressor on our body. It can also create a little more of an immune response. So mucus production, trying to eliminate the body of the thing that's stressing it out, right? Makes sense. More rest. So when you're under more stress, again, you need more nutrients and you create more waste, which can make us a little more tired. So be gentle with yourself, be patient with yourself. And especially if you start to notice that those allergy symptoms are starting to turn into more of like a virus or maybe some bacteria that's found an opportunity to grow in that lovely little medium that's going on and all of the sinuses, you definitely want to address the rest. Take a moment for yourself. And overall support healthy function. All right. So again, if you have questions, concerns, if there are things that you're like, oh my gosh, I just really can't get a hold on these sorts of things, I have multiple things going on, just ask Alo. I love questions. We're on social media. So if you're bold and brave, want to ask questions right on there and let everybody benefit from the answers. I can't give individualized advice over the social media platforms, and you probably wouldn't want that anyway per se, but general tips are out on our social media. So we're on Facebook, on Instagram, but not quite as much as on Facebook. We also have a free Facebook group called Wellness with Alo, and it's a little more of sharing recipes, sharing ideas, a little more interaction, and great resources, doing challenges at times. There is a challenge for the month of April doing the Whole30. So if you're familiar with that, you can get some great recipes and no pressure, but lots of ideas and support. I welcome emails, info@alohealthllc.com. Send me an email. You can also do a free phone consult and no pressure. I love to talk to people, find out if we're a good fit for one another. If there's something you're interested in exploring here at Alo Health, I would love to work with you personally. But I also know that there are a lot of things that you can just gather from looking at the social media things, getting little ideas, little tips and tricks that you can integrate into your life. Big advocate for sustainable change. Things don't generally change overnight. So we're here to support you in a multitude of ways, of course, focusing on natural, normal, healthy function. Let's see. So I am going to end the presentation, but I want to bring you all back on here and find out if anybody has questions or if there's something that kind of caught your attention as far as something that was talked about regarding seasonal allergies and what you can do. Don't be shy.
I'm really intrigued by the apple cider vinegar and honey thing. I'm just wondering, when you do that, would you recommend diluting the apple cider vinegar or just doing it straight from the bottle?
That's a great question. So, all right, when I first was reading about this, I don't know, 15 years ago or so, I thought it was ew, gross, because it's the apple cider vinegar with the mother, so the floaties things in it. Like I said, don't smell it. It doesn't smell good. And someone said, oh, just dilute it in whatever, apple juice or whatever. So there's a couple issues with diluting it. One, you're making whatever you're putting in it not taste as good. So I'm just just take a spoonful or take maybe a bad influence here, but take a shot glass and just down it. Just get it over with, do it. And truth be told, my now almost 19-year-old son, he was the allergy sufferer. And when he was 13, he just was like, Mom, I'm just going to take it. I don't want to ruin whatever else I'm drinking. I'm just going to take it and get it done with, and then follow up with the local honey. Like I said, though, if you have any burning, in down your throat or anything when you take apple cider vinegar, then we probably need to talk a little bit, because there's an issue with that if that's the case. Are you going to enjoy the taste of apple cider vinegar right away? I can pretty much guarantee you that's a strong no. You will not enjoy it. But after a while, you actually might kind of crave it a little bit, which is weird. But your taste buds are new every 2 weeks. So And I got a question here on the chat, how much vinegar should we be taking? Again, that's different for everybody. And I'm not a big measurer of things when it comes to like food things, because it's how much you can actually get in your mouth without like kind of gagging on it, or, you know, again, not smelling it. So like with my son, when he was younger, I started with a teaspoon because, you know, he wouldn't run from me fighting, kicking and screaming. So we started with a little amount, worked our way up to a tablespoon, and then just put it in like to a little shot glass. Hope that didn't influence any behaviors later on in life for him, but it's what works. And he does it every spring now because he still has some of those seasonal allergies that will start to seep in at different times. So great question. Well, this is impressive. So someone's kids are taking a teaspoon in a cup with warm water, and yeah, not super, sometimes the warmth kind of relaxes things a little bit, and they get used to it and actually ask for it every time their throat is sore. Well, that's interesting. That's kind of cool. So, all right. And someone said an essential oil blend of peppermint, lemon, and lavender helps me with my allergies as well. Great. And dilute it. Definitely dilute anything. You know, applying or taking, you know, if you're under the advisement of like an aromatherapist, which is highly recommended if you're going to ingest any essential oils. Definitely make sure you're diluting it, because essential oils should not like come directly in contact with mucous membranes without being diluted. So great. All right. Any other questions or things that people want to share about, you know, maybe some things that you do that help with the onslaught of what's to come with eventual spring and summer here in Wisconsin? All right. So if no one has questions about those things, let's talk a little bit about like, what are some other topics that people are interested in, like maybe down the line, like other topics that we could talk about at like Lunch and Learns. If you have ideas on that, you can also send them to me so you can be anonymous. And again, that's info@alohealthllc.com. Gluten-free cooking. Oh yeah, that's like my thing. That's my jive. Leaky gut. Oh my gosh, yeah. Leaky gut is a big deal. Going to start a leaky gut detox next week. Fantastic. Last month. Oh, question from last month. How should we curb the desire for taste when we are fasting? The desire for taste. Do you mean like desire for food? Like, are you hungry? Is that what you're talking about? Other than water. Yeah. Oh, so right. Okay. So non-flavored teas. You know, they usually say black and green tea is fine. If it's afternoon, I recommend decaf because, well, you don't want to be up all night. And black coffee is fine as well. Other than water, I find so I'll have my cup of coffee in the morning, like black coffee, and we're talking about like intermittent fasting and like how do you kind of get through it. So I do black coffee in the morning, and then I usually get to work and I have tea, just unsweetened, unflavored tea, and then the rest of the day I kind of drink like room temperature or warm water. And I shouldn't say the rest of the day. Usually I'll have like I'll break my fast anywhere between 1 and 4. Just depends on the day. And then there are days too that I like break my fast at 11 or, you know, sooner. Just those are some ideas that I use. Lemon water's fine. It doesn't technically break your fast. Barley tea, same as green tea. Nope. Barley is very different than green tea. So is barley tea the same as green tea? Nope. And barley, so if you have a sensitivity or allergy to gluten, barley is a cross-contaminant of gluten. So that's just a little side note. Definitely want to be careful with that if that's something you have an issue with. Great questions. And I love all the ideas that everybody has here too. So any other questions? Don't be shy. All right. So, like I said, if there are any questions that you have, oh, I got a new message here. Let me know, like you can email, oh, mental and emotional health topics. Yeah, those are big because everything plays together, right? And if there's anything specific too, because I mean, that's a big encompassing topic. If there's something specific, like if you know, like anxiety or depression, oh yeah, PEMF. We can talk about PEMF, that's for sure. And for those of you who maybe aren't familiar with what PEMF is, it's pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. It's a therapy that we introduced here at the end of 2020. And I'd love to talk about that, of course, because it's pretty exciting stuff. So yeah, we can definitely talk about that. And if you do have specific questions before like the next one, and want to try it out, we'd be happy to, you know, talk to you about that as well. So, well, I can let you guys get back to, if it's your lunch that, you know, luncheon and learning. And thank you guys like for your attention, and hopefully got some good info here that you can try to integrate to decrease those responses to allergies. Again, we're here to help. And the email address is info, so info at alohealthllc.com. And you can see that you can link to that on our socials and on our website as well, www.alohealthllc.com. And you can also pass along questions through Kayla. She also, I'm just volunteering you, Kayla, but she can also get them to me as well if for some reason you can't get through on the email, but you usually can. So yeah, perfect. Well, have a fantastic weekend. It's going to be warmer. It's going to get up to 57 today. So break out the shorts and the flip-flops. And thank you guys for joining me for the gut check with Alo Health. Have a great one.